London Bridge. I'm just practicing my intro.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted today to be free flowing. I do have questions. It is an interview, but it's also more a stream of consciousness. We did an interview once before.
That's great. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Because it's just about, there's a lot to chat about in the world of
Yeah, there is.
of EDM and just the regular world.
There's no shortage of that.
All right. Well, what's up, everybody? It's your boy London Bridge here for Space Yacht Radio. Today, special guest for the second time on the show. Stoked to have him. Omnom is here.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Virtually. He is virtually here. And I'm trying a new virtual background myself. It's just
Awesome.
If you're listening on Insomniac Radio, I got the Space Yacht rocket, but it's like a red camo rocket vibe.
Yeah, it's dope.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, then you see it. Hold on, but if you're watching this on YouTube, I gotta show. Hold on, that's me. Hold on, choose virtual background. Now I'm just
you just gotta see this.
Crackhead pictures of myself. Hold on, why did that stop? All right, here we go. All right, now we're back. Now I got Omnom's new logo behind me.
Dope.
Dude, I mean, we can open with this because I'm really excited about it. Like, so you posted a couple days ago this really dope new flower design. If you're not watching it, it's the Omnom face logo in the middle of this like daisy with like one of the leaves kind of detached, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're wearing the hat now. It looks dope.
Yes, I am.
But dude, the response was crazy. I just saw you tweeted like a little bit ago that like shit sold out in like less than 24 hours.
Yeah, we sold out in less than 45 minutes, actually.
That's insane. So this is that's a whole new design though, right? You haven't had this flower design before, right?
I actually designed that like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And actually, I made it into a T-shirt at the mall the day of my birthday in 2018, and I wore it later that night at Space Yacht when I went back to back with Walker and Royce.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was the first time anyone had seen that.
You know, we should re-air that. I have that recording and live stream of that specific one because we were live streaming back then, and a lot of our live streams we have to actually get rid of because of copyright or whatever. But this one, I think we snagged and we have it. I think
that was a great one.
I think you did a shoey. It was your birthday, and
I did do a shoey, and then Henry brought out an Adidas shoebox and opened it, and it was a Smirnoff Ice, and they iced me immediately after that.
I think I didn't know anything about that whole shoey Smirnoff Ice thing. I guess the boomer in me missed that one. But
there's a little boomer in all of us.
Yeah, and then I saw with the design, then somebody made an Animal Crossing version of the design.
Yeah,
as well.
Man. Yeah.
Are you big on the Animal Crossing?
I'm huge on Animal Crossing right now. Yeah.
So what I've realized for myself is that by not gaming and not being a part of whether it's Animal Crossing or Fortnite, I'm actually missing a large portion of what's happening in culture right now, which is why I'm about to order. But like, what's your vibe? Like, what's your vibe on it? Because you're creating worlds, right? It's like a SimCity type.
It's not even so much creating worlds as that, I mean, in this one specifically, you get put on this like deserted island. It's probably about less than like a square half mile, and it's just a completely deserted island. There's nothing there but weeds and trees.
Right.
And essentially you just start from the ground up. You just weed the whole island, you cut down trees, you pick the fruits and stuff, and then eventually you sell the fruits and you get money in return. And you just start doing this, and then eventually you can like you build your house and you get your house, and then you can add to your house, and the whole time you're going into debt with this raccoon that is essentially in charge of the whole island. And yeah, so it's basically just building and paying off debts.
So it's like real life.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very much so. Yeah.
I know everybody who's listening to this who are into Animal Crossing are feeling you 100%. For me, all I see is like the still photos or someone like DJing within Animal Crossing and all these different things that are going on.
Yeah, there's just so many different ways to customize it. And I don't know what it is about how everyone is just like so creative with all the shit that they do on their different islands. I think it's awesome because you can travel to other people's islands and check out what they have over there. And actually your island grows a native fruit, and your fruit will sell more on someone else's island.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to grow. I'll grow some weed on my island. That's
yeah.
My speed. So look, there's a lot going on. I did want to talk a little bit. I wanted to start with like the live stream boom a little bit and get your take on it. I mean, you played with us. You played on one of the Insomniac like big live streams. You have one coming up. We're recording this today. You have one coming up with the Insomniac Records crew. So I feel like you're in a good position to kind of talk about the experience because you've done it on the higher levels of things. But before talking about your personal sets, like have you been enjoying watching, these artists do this things? Like, what your overall vibe on the live stream boom? Like, what's your feeling on it?
Yeah, man, I think it's really cool. Just like on Friday, Saturday nights, just hanging out and throwing a live stream up on the TV and just watching whoever's playing. Usually, it's if we were watching someone, it's like Desert Hearts, or sometimes it's the Insomniac stream. Like there's,
Yeah.
it's a bit like the people that do like the weekly things. I think it's pretty cool.
Right.
I think it is starting to wear people a little bit thin in most cases. I feel like people are kind of getting a little live stream fatigue
Mm.
if it's just another DJ set of someone in their living room,
Yeah.
just DJing straight into a camera. I think that's going to be. I feel like they're going to be less and less interested in that kind of stuff, and people are going to have to start coming up with some sort of like novelty or coming up with
Yeah.
something different to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Even with the green screen stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is very cool and very creative, and I actually really enjoy the green screen stuff. But it's like, now it's very readily available, it seems. Or even with Zoom backgrounds, I mean, like
Yeah.
you can kind of just do it. It's funny. I think when we look back, maybe there's going to be some sort of like trajectory, but it's like super sped up, right? So we're
Yeah.
2 months into quarantine, so you can be like, oh, those first 2 weeks of live streaming, like remember when it was like all bedroom sets or like backyard
Yeah.
sets, and
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
everything's kind of like leveling up. Like it seemed like the like the all the what's the metaphor I'm using? Oh, everybody's at the same level. What? It's not. Hold on. There's a metaphor.
The starting line.
Starting line. Everyone's at the same shit. I tweeted this the other day. I don't remember, but basically everybody, kind of started in the same place, right? And then, it's just interesting to see. I mean, even Desert Hearts, they're killing it because they're doing so many streams, and you can
Yeah.
tell they're refining it as they go and refining both the musical concepts and just the overall concepts of what they're doing. It's really cool to kind of see the progression. I guess that's my point, is like going to like Treasure Fingers' first
Hmm.
stream to now, when he's basically been streaming almost every day.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the progression.
Yeah, and then the record labels, they have an advantage too, because they can just delegate someone to stream at X time on X day weekly, and you could pretty much be streaming on your Twitch almost 12 hours a day every day,
Right.
which in turn means more time to get those like donations in. And I know that's a lot of these record labels that have been doing this, like they'll make almost like $500 a day
Right.
just
Just from
because
the
they're streaming from like 12 in the afternoon to like 6 p.m.
right. And people are watching those, even like reruns. I mean, you'll look at Insomniac at any like given time when they're doing the throwback stuff, and there'll be 600-700 people just like
Yeah.
in the mix on that. But I do think that there's been some nice, some of the throwback stuff, like Cascade yesterday just replayed his Coachella set, which I think
Yeah.
was standout. I mean, for me personally, I was at that set like right in the
I was
front. So
too.
yeah, so like I remember that, and I actually saw a lot of tweets from our friends who are like, I remember, and I'm like, wow, everybody was there. I wasn't even friends with these people yet, but like it's interesting. Hold on, my dad is calling me. Dad, I love you so much, but he got a new computer, and
Oh
I
yeah.
am IT, and
Okay.
the thing is, he realizes, he's like, I'm so sorry, like he gets it, so he's not giving me a hard time, and I'm trying to be very, when you're with your parents, sometimes you can be very like testy, because it's like, come on, Dad,
Yeah.
come on. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to really be like very like not lose my temper, just like chill, whatever. But like this morning he was like, I don't understand, I have all these things on my desktop, I got the new computer, but now they're not on my desktop, but they said that they transferred everything. I was like, you should search, just use the search bar. He's
Yep.
like, but
Yep.
it takes me to Google, it's not on Google.
Command space bar. Yep. There you go.
No, but back to, sorry, I digress. But like the Coachella set, like Cascade Coachella set, the fact that he re-aired it was almost like a an event to me, even though it was like re-aired. Like that was such like a special thing, you know what I mean? To
Yeah.
to catch.
Was that it hadn't been online anywhere prior to that, right?
I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't readily available. It's not like a YouTube video that's like up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting because like I wonder if yeah, they just had that sitting like in their archive or whatever, and he was just like, hey, you know what? Let's post that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
great.
and
I
I
mean,
think, and it
people.
also was the one of the biggest at the time, was the biggest set of any DJ ever, if not one of just the biggest sets in terms of the amount of people at the stage. I think it was
Yeah,
like among the top ever.
insane. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like people are going to start having to do that too, is just like finding old content maybe that they could just use to like post something,
Yeah.
like a video like that. My set from X Festival, we're just going to upload that or stream that.
Well, then that's why Insomniac is so genius. I mean, they've been live streaming for a long time. Coachella as well. Like these bigger players that started the live streaming, like what 2012 kind of is when people started
Yeah.
to a little Ultra as well. You know, they're sitting on a gold mine, and that it's actually now worth a lot more because now we don't, you know,
Yeah.
potentially have shows till 2021. I mean, it seems to me that I mean, I can't imagine that there's going to be real shows this year, given kind of what's been going on.
Festivals, at least? No, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw a report right before we got on. South Korea have 40 new cases, all stemming from a nightclub.
Oh yeah, I think I
Yeah.
saw someone tweet about that too.
You know, so that's not great for us. It's weird. We're like in this weird, I mean, like DJs, musicians across the board, sports people, right? It's like this couldn't be affecting us more. You know
No,
what I
yeah.
mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's like the only thing you can really like take solace in is knowing that it's happening to every single musician in the world right now.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's
Or,
that's a little comforting at least.
yeah. I mean, to know that nobody has any feeling of stability is kind of comforting.
Yeah,
My,
exactly.
it's like,
Yeah, exactly. It's like at least it's not only happening to people that are playing at like Sound Nightclub.
right,
It's also happening to people that play at like Madison Square Garden
right,
and
right.
Staples Center.
Or Arkham in Shanghai. You know what I mean? It's like literally everywhere. I wonder what they're going to do about the boats though, like the holy ships and the AMFs and like, you know, all those really awesome events. I mean, that's like double. That's like we're not going to have those for like 5 years
I mean,
because
Holy Ship isn't even on a ship anymore.
right.
And then
Oh,
yeah,
did they
yeah,
replace? Is that the replacement that they did the
Shipwreck.
shipwreck?
Yeah,
That's like instead of.
I think so, but I don't think they're going to do that again. That I heard that was
Yeah,
not a success.
yeah. Doesn't seem like. I mean, I wouldn't want to go on it. Although I've had fun on the boats. I did Groove Cruise and I did one in Singapore called It's the Ship. That was the last one we
Oh
did.
yeah,
They're really. I mean, they're really fun if you like to party. I mean,
I did Groove Cruise in 2018, and it
yeah,
was super fun.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Groove Cruise is a little different. It's a little different. Yeah, I don't think it's like the kids who are going on Holy Ship. It's a little
No,
older, a
it is
little
a
even though it's older and like probably I would say richer, you know, people with a little bit more expendable income,
yeah.
it's definitely dirtier.
It's a lot more of like an adult crowd for
Right,
sure. Like
right.
it's because it's been going on for a pretty long time, I think, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'd never been on a cruise in my whole life, so that was also like my first experience on a cruise ship, so that was pretty fun.
Were we on the same one? We had a stage one year. It was like Billy Kenny and all them were there. Bijou was there. Were you on that one?
No,
Or
definitely.
were you on the Miami one?
I was on the Groove Cruise. It was supposed to go out of San Diego
Oh no,
to
different
we
one.
were supposed to go to Cabo, and then we got out there and there was this huge like hurricane going on, and they kind of diverted us to Ensenada, and I was supposed to play a beach party with Sage Armstrong and Huxley and Duke Dumont, and they ended up putting us up playing at Papas and Beer
That's the
at
classic spot in
Ensenada.
Ensenadas.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was cool.
They did. I think the one we went to was there, and it was Green Velvet and a couple other big artists. It's pretty sick because they did Ensenadas on the one that we went to, beach party. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So what's been your top stream of quarantine? What's been your favorite one
Um,
as a fan, like to watch to watch?
as a fan to watch, I mean, usually the Insomniac ones are pretty awesome just because it's so funny to like see what Pasquale is going to be wearing or what he's going to be talking about or how long he's
He's
going to talk.
He's killing it.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like an added thing that I didn't expect from quarantine, which like I knew Insomniac would do something great, but the fact that he's really now come out as like, hey, bro, I'm the host of the raves. Like, fuck y'all. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do me. It's great. Like, remember the moment like when you were talk about the moment when he was like blowing bubbles during your set. I mean, that was like
Yeah, I
so
mean,
sick.
it was so surreal on top of the fact that it was already just surreal being in that room
Yeah.
playing for I think it was like 30 some thousand people watching at that time, but really it was me, Pasquale, and like two camera guys.
Yeah.
And it was just very surreal, and I was playing and it goes by so fast when you're up there. I only played for like 25 minutes or so, And then it really took until I got home after that and watched the rerun of that live stream, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that all just like happened. It felt like just like a flash.
I think that's going to be a moment that you'll tell your kids about. I mean, you're like
Yeah.
the godfather of everything, like raving,
Yeah.
while you're playing. It's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Popping ollies and blowing
Or
bubbles.
popping mollies, not popping mollies, popping ollies,
Popping ollies, yeah.
popping mollies. Mollygate? Was it Ollygate?
It was
Mollygate?
it was yeah, it was whatever you think it was, Gate. That'll be one
That
of
was
history's mysteries.
for those listening. Our good friend Vanessa. She was just. I think it was a total innocent thing. She's like,
It was
saw
completely
Pasquale, and
innocent.
she's like, "Did you pop an ollie?" Because he had the skateboard, and an ollie, for those who don't know, it's like
And
when
he
you
posted a picture of him doing the ollie on Instagram the day before.
right. I had seen that, and then I guess people thought she said, "Did you pop a molly?"
Not only people, but the producer of the stream, and he cut in was like, no, 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 not for the feed, no. And then him, Pasquale and Vanessa just kind of like looked over, like, what? And he was like, yeah, I did actually. He was like, I used to skate. And then I think it clicked for a lot of people that that's what she said. But I mean, I
Right.
thought that was hilarious.
That was one of the early memes. One of the early memes of quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm saying. There's gonna be this like eras of things going on. So like the beginning of quarantine and the middle, that you know what I mean? There's gonna
Yeah.
be this, but it's hyper speed. So it's like every 10 days there's like a new section. I mean, every 10 days there's a new way people are feeling about our situation, right?
Yeah.
It's like it definitely evolves from like, let's say like the first 2 weeks was just like, this like everybody kind of being bewildered and but being like, oh my God, I talked to people I haven't talked to in forever, and everybody kind of having that experience. And now
Yeah.
it settles into kind of normalcy where you're like, oh yeah, I'm just kind of trying to live my life.
Yeah. I mean, well, if you think about what's today, it's May 9th. Just think about where you were on April 9th and then compare that to where you were on like March 9th.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been great. Like March 9th, everyone was freaking out. This is like the end of the world as we know it. Like you're going to know like 20 people who are going to die from this,
Right.
to where it's April and it's like, oh, like this is the way it's going to be for a while, but I don't think it's as intense as they thought it was going to be. To like now, it's like we're just going to have to ride this out.
Right. Yeah, we are. I mean, but the intensity has everything to do with density. I feel like New York is really like the worst place on the planet for this thing, right? But
Yeah.
it's part of America. I mean, it kind of goes to show how different. Europe is split up into these different things, and they're different countries, but we're like bigger than all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all one country, right? So it's like I've actually been thinking about it like that, where it's like, yeah, there's lots of places in this country where it's not popping, like it's under control to some level, and then there's a couple spots where it's just totally fucked up, and they're really different, and people, they're different places where people think differently and behave differently, and that's the issue, right? Is that everybody is being very like intense, where some places it's not that intense. I also think that like it's not intense because we're doing a good job of like making it not intense by staying
Exactly.
home.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
for people who are like, oh, what, like somebody said this to me the other day, oh well, the hospitals aren't full and what all this stuff and it's like, that's a good thing. That's because we've gotten ahead of some of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like California, if they had left everything open in California, it would be a much different scene than it is right
Oh,
now.
it'd be horrible.
Think about how close, like when we're in the club, how close we are to one. Even if I'm talking to you and I'm in your ear, like I'm like spitting on you because like I didn't like, yeah, and I don't mean that because of me. I mean, although I do kind of spit when I talk, but I'm just saying, like, think about when you're in the club and someone wants to get in your ear to talk to you about a collab or whatever bullshit they want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they're kind of spitting on your face. Like,
I mean, I've paid people to spit on me before.
it's a different.
Okay.
And then I also think the fetish of spitting is actually going to take a whole new dimension now. Not to get gross, and we'll leave it at that. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, that'll take on a different meaning.
Like people who, all right, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Sorry. But for the unreleased, we'll have a different conversation, and that can be special on just
yeah.
for Discord.
My producer's looking at me like,
Yeah, just for
cut it.
Speaking of Discord, so I think one of like things for me that's come out that has been really interesting is Discord, the way people use Discord. You know, for those listening who don't know it, it was made for gamers. It's basically a chat where you can kind of subdivide different genres and kind of chat around originally games, and then also use it as a way to kind of game together. For us as DJs now, it seems like it's another place to engage with like the niches of your own brand,
Yeah.
whether it's, merch, or whether like for us, we have stuff that's just around music, and we have stuff that's just around shows and just around merch. And I even saw today, like on your Discord, like when you dropped your new merch line, like the Discord was just popping. Like the Discord was
Yeah.
like took it and ran with it. So what's been like your experience there? Because it seems like a whole new level of
Oh,
engagement that you couldn't have without it. You know what I
well,
mean?
I'd heard of Discord recently, maybe within the last year or so, and I saw that maybe I don't even know who it was. Somewhat like an artist or some record label had a Discord, and I had no idea what it was. I never went and checked it out or anything, but I knew it was kind of oriented towards like video games and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never really been too big on like the video game streaming or anything. I used to play a lot of video games, but never any like streaming when I was doing it. And I knew Twitch was for streaming, so I kind of just knew that they were kind of similar. And when it came to time that is like no more shows, we're gonna have to do something to keep in touch with people. Um, I kind of finally checked it out, and it really is nothing like what I thought it was. Discord is, at least, and you don't have to stream at all. It's just a place to chat with whoever joins onto your server, and you have a bunch of like subdivisions, like channels of different topics, different rooms and stuff, which I mean I'm used to, just because I used to use certain message boards when I was in early high school, late
Sure.
middle school years. Yeah,
It
so
is kind of a throwback to that.
it is a
really
throwback to that. Like there's the animals channel, there's the whatever channel you want, there's the after hours. We've got the after hours. We have a med tent on ours.
And then the after hours you can only be in from a certain time point, right? Isn't that how you set it up?
So that is amazing, because we started that. I started the channel. It's called After Hours, and it's basically anything goes, but it's only open between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. And it was amazing the first few days we used it, and then I started to realize, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to be in there to open it at 11 and then close it down at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. So like some days I would like not wake up, and I would be like closing it at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And then eventually we were thinking like, oh, maybe there's like a bot we can use to set it to automatically open and close. And I scoured the internet, I scoured Discord, I scoured Google, I looked everywhere for like some sort of bot that could open and close channels in Discord, and there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So we actually had a guy in our Discord who works in tech write source code in Python for a bot called After Hours Bot that will open and close the room from 11, like open it at 11 and close it at 6 a.m. every day automatically. And it kicks people out at 6 a.m.
That's sick.
It's amazing.
So
we're the only Discord with that technology.
That's incredible. I love that. No, but these are the stories coming out of quarantine. You probably wouldn't have gone as ham on Discord without having to be in the situation where.
No,
right?
definitely. And I've always kind of like been looking for some way to interact with people, or like interact with my supporters in a way that wasn't just responding to tweets or like replying to comments with like fire emojis on Instagram or something.
Right.
Like I wanted to actually like have a conversation with people, and I feel like it's great for that. And I don't have to feel compelled to go live live video whenever I want to just go in and just spitball with people. I think it's really dope. And it works as a tool to get people directed towards other things as well. It's like, oh, well, today we're going to be doing the Insomniac stream, so we'll just throw that in the Discord.
Right.
And then people just jump on that. It's really cool.
Totally. It's been fun for me to also use it while I'm watching streams as well. So it's like you're on the Twitch chat, but you're also in the Discord chat. The chat has been like a source of great pleasure for me lately. It's so fun, and like I didn't like think about that at all going into this, but like my favorite thing on the planet to do right now is write in all caps "Let's go" with a ton of O's, like just in the chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean,
like, that's the new like put your hands up. You know what I mean?
The little emotes that
Oh
you
yeah.
can make are just amazing. Like we've just been making tons of those on Discord, and just you just make the most nonsensical things and people will find a excuse to just use that as a
Yeah.
reaction to whatever you post. And I
Yeah.
think that's great. I think we are so used to like those awful, like the YouTube chat is obviously like the worst chat on the
It's
internet. It's
not
like it's just
engaging really.
awful. It just goes straight past, like it's
Yeah.
just a bunch of weird bullshit. But when you actually know like all 50, 60 people in a chat, or maybe 300, 400 people are like all from this core like community, it makes the chats way more fun.
Right. No, it does. Well, because there's a real social element in the same way that when you're at the show, it's this kind of like flyby, saying what's up to people in the club, like real quick,
Yeah.
like shouting each other out, and like obviously it's different, but I do get this kind of like just feeling like I'm amped up in the chat. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If everybody's
Yeah.
like, oh, like take a shot, and we're all taking shots together, and you actually are doing that, or when somebody want to smoke a
Yeah.
joint or something like that, it's like these party experiences, and yeah, you're not together, but it's like it is something that's more than just sitting watching something
I think
passively.
it's hilarious, especially on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. Some people are like partying so hard.
Yeah,
It's crazy. I like it gives you like this sense of like, all right, well, everybody's saying fuck it now. Like
right.
everyone's getting drunk at 5 p.m. on Thursday. It's pretty cool.
It's so weird how like somebody's tweet about being like, oh, it's like only 3, but I already like cracked a claw, and then you're like, oh, I guess I can too. It's like people are
Exactly.
helping you along because we all want to do
Yeah,
the
because if
same
it was
thing.
normal times, I would be sitting on my couch. I would maybe have a drink at like 5 p.m. on Thursday, say, and then I'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna keep drinking, I guess. And
Right.
you're like, oh man, like what am I doing? But it's different now when you see everybody's watching the live stream and they're like, oh, I'm like taking my 10th shot.
Right.
It's like, oh my god, everybody take a shot now. Everybody take another shot. I'm like, okay, it's everybody, not just me.
It's definitely everybody.
Yeah.
It's definitely everybody of all ages. It's crazy. In terms of your actual like writing, like and producing, have you felt like you've been more or less productive than you thought you would be with all of this time on your hands?
With all of this time on my hands, I've definitely been less productive than I thought I would be. But at the same time, I don't think it's hurting as much as if I wasn't this productive normally.
Right.
Because I feel like so much stuff is like people are putting out so much stuff right now that's getting swept under the rug
Right.
that I would hate to be like just sitting in here slaving away over like all this new music and putting it out within like the next couple months just to have it. I feel like some of the stuff that's coming out right now isn't going to exist by the time we come back to play shows.
It's an interesting kind of thinking about it because usually our process is we give it to the DJs to play in the club. Like that's the
Yeah.
point of the promo and that's the point of all that. And then because the cycle is so quick, it's like you basically have 3 days to like make your song catch on, and if it doesn't, it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I do think that there is you still want to keep that engagement. You still want to like, keep people knowing you as an artist, but I think
Yeah.
there's other ways there's other outlets. I mean,
Exactly.
the Discord, for example, is an outlet. Your
Hmm.
merch dropping this new design, it's an outlet. These are different expressions.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of like alluding to, is that like as long as I'm doing something to keep yourself in the eye of like your supporters or just
Right.
people in general, I feel like that's gonna do more for you than just staying in the studio and slaving over tunes and not doing anything else just to have this track come out next month. And I mean, who knows how it's gonna do?
Right, right. Well, no, it's almost like going into more of an influencer state of mind because
Yeah.
influencers are doing all types of different content. They're just being themselves. And you do a great job of that. I mean, I think with Henry and I are always looking at different artists and saying, like, yeah, they make great tunes, but are they like engaged online and are they kind of digital first? That's what we always
Hmm.
talk about. And we look at
Hmm.
you as one of those people who's a digital first artist. Like people might have found you through your music and might have found you through your performances, but then once they find you, they're like, oh, there's an entire world that Omnom has created.
Yeah, and I used to totally be against being someone that people find like, say, through Twitter or Instagram and then check out the music. Like I always wanted it to be the music first and it, but I mean honestly, it won't really change people's perception of you, I don't think, if they find you through Instagram and then they go and check out your music on Spotify and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is actually like pretty sick." Like I feel like it's not actually that big of a difference.
I think it's almost a better move for them to find you online first and then be like, oh, like the music's that much, you know, they're now more inclined to like your music because they like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that too. And that's why I knew that like Discord at least would be a good move for us, just because I know that like our like community that we have already going on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, like it's just a very unique, like diverse group of people that I feel like if even not only just interacting with me but interacting with each other, like that would just like cross pollinate like very very naturally.
Yeah, no, I feel that. The Zoom stuff has been interesting too. I don't know if how much Zoom chats you've been doing with like fans, but that's been something like I've been doing these like weekly virtual merch booths during like the streams.
Yeah.
And that's like another thing like Discord where like you're getting a bunch of random people together, but who are all like-minded and like the same thing. And
Yeah.
then there's almost like a weird intimacy with it. You know what I
I
mean?
think
That's
you just
different.
start to realize how much you have in common with just the most like random people, as long as they're interested in like Space Yacht or Omnom or Insomniac or whatever you guys are watching. You'd be like, oh, these people are actually like, these could be my homies
And yeah,
even if we weren't doing this.
right. It's really true. I find that all the time because I'm like, yeah, like you're in a different place and you might not know me, but like we're all like, I see it in the music when like a drop would happen and everybody's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know when it's good, and that's one thing that's interesting for me and like hearing what people like is that oh moment on the Zoom chat because everybody does it. They don't even know they're all going to do it together, and when it
Yeah.
hits, everyone's like, oh my god, you know.
Fire,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. That happened a lot during your set. There was a lot of
Oh,
that.
that's good to hear.
You know what I mean?
That's good to hear.
So back. I mean, I know we're talking a lot about streams, but it is kind of
No, yeah, I mean,
the
it's really
thing.
the only thing we can talk
It's
about.
the thing. Well, there's other things we could talk about, but no. But for you as an artist, you've had you've played so many big festivals, so you've had a lot of experience. What's the difference for you when you're playing, let's say, the Insomniac stream versus playing a festival? Do you have a different feeling? Do you like it more? Do you like it different? Like, what's your feeling as as a performer,
I don't
about
think
the
I'll
streams?
ever enjoy the live stream more than the actual thing, but it is different. Like it's just a different way of doing things, especially because like you can't really see it, but this is like our live stream setup. We
Nice.
have these are the two cameras, and it faces this way, so you've got like the whole studio in the background. But we actually have a TV hooked up, and that's hooked up to a second laptop that's just running the group chat,
Hmm.
so you can DJ and watch the group chat. And it's really weird to get to like gauge people's reactions to your set verbally and like reading it off a screen, rather than like when you're in a club, you're just kind of looking for people who are dancing or like putting their hand in the air. Like it's a very different thing when you're reading people's opinions live as you're doing it. Like it's very strange.
This beat is shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like at least like if I was looking out on the crowd, I would just assume that everybody likes
Right,
it.
right.
Maybe that's not the right stance to take.
No, but even on like the hearts, whether it's on, I guess on Insta Live or Twitter Live, when you get the hearts, like when you do a drop and you see like a lot of hearts blowing up. I mean, that's a good feel. It's a different feeling, but it's kind of like that feeling when you're like, oh, the whole crowd is moving to this thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like I like you just can't beat like the giant room or like giant like open space with like the music blasting over the sound system. Like I just feel like you'll never be able to replicate that feeling if you're just sitting in a room, no matter how loud you play the music
Right.
and how many people are watching. Like I could probably play for like 100,000 people. It wouldn't feel the same as playing for like 2,000 people at a festival, I feel like.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, because you really can't see the difference, really.
Yeah, I know. I could have been playing for 20 people on the Insomniac stream when I did it.
Right.
And then afterwards they're like, "Oh, there were like 30,000, 40,000 people watching." I was like, "Oh, good thing I didn't know that when I went up there and played."
Right, because there's a whole different probably set of nerves, right? Because it's like you really can't fuck up. You know what I mean? There's no room for
Yeah.
error in the digital shit. You know?
And you know like the second that your set's over, like the next day it's going to be on YouTube forever.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
that's different too. And
Right.
then also your guys' stream, the Space Yacht stream, playing for Sound Nightclub, completely devoid of people,
It's weird.
just the the lights hanging down, and like everything was going crazy, like the strobe lights and everything, but there's just nobody there.
Yeah.
It was
I,
so weird.
I asked if we could put mannequins around, it was shut down. But I said, I was like, we could make an art piece out of like the dance floor. We have different mannequins, maybe like ones with robotic arms, and like dress them up in different ways. And the owner was like, ah. But I'm like, dude, I'm like, it's kind of sick. I'm going to actually bring it up again. I think it would be cool. But that's what I like. I mean, that's what I like about our streams, is that like, sound has been amazing enough to be a partner, to be like, yeah, like we're down for the cause to be able to do it there, because sound is so intrinsically connected to our brand at this
Yeah.
point. It is the home base. It's the heart and soul of Space Yacht. So I'm really psyched that we were able to get back there, because we didn't know originally. We were told that we wouldn't be able to do it because of
Oh,
legal issues. So just the fact that
really?
we were able to do it. I also liked it that we got a little bit of time to let other people go first, honestly, because there's
Yeah.
like,
No, yeah, definitely.
Insomniac got in there quick, and a lot of other people got in there quick, and it's like, it's kind of good. It's like we let people kind of go, and then it was like, all right, we're actually just going to do our main thing that we do, as opposed to try to figure out. I mean, we're going to do more content, but
Oh, yeah.
that's really people go to sound. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, and I've never really been one to like rush headlong into something that everyone else is doing right away,
Yeah,
until I've kind of seen what I like and what I don't like, and then kind of try and base my opinion off of that. So, I mean, you'll get if you do something first, like all the live streams, the first people to go, you'll get all the viewers and everything because you're the first ones doing anything. Everyone wants to check out what's going on. But I feel like some people might, like after you've been doing it for a while, people might start to lose interest or get fatigue. And
yeah.
eventually some people who have been waiting long enough that they're going to come out with some crazy idea, they're going to have some crazy feature to their live stream. I think that's going to help a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, and there's obviously a lot of things that we haven't even like thought of in terms of streaming that are going to come our way. It's just like a whole new way of, a creativity thing, the way that YouTubers got creative with different types of content. I mean,
Yep.
it's got to be, otherwise there will be fatigue, otherwise
Yeah.
people will be like, whatever, like, okay, another house set, another, base set, whatever.
Yeah.
It's got to be engaging. It's got to be interactive. And I'm interested to see where it goes. I like we were saying before, it's like every couple weeks there's going to be like a new era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. People definitely, there's no shortage of people who
Yeah.
want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And Wyatt was telling me, it was kind of like when I first played that Insomniac stream, the first Hard Summer one. He was like, it's funny, it's been like a microcosm of like your career, this whole lockdown, because he was like, I watched you, like it was like you like came up, like you were playing in the backyard, and then you started watching the Insomniac live streams, and then you like gradually worked your way up to now you're playing the Insomniac thing with it. I was like, yeah, we started from the bottom.
There it
Now we're
is.
here. Yeah.
Full circle. You're like Drake.
It
You're the Drake of Tech House.
was pretty interesting. Yeah. So then the Space Yacht one, that's really is the second one I've done, and
Yeah.
then tonight will be the third one, the Insomniac Records one.
Is that at Academy? Where is it? Or is it at the office?
So that one they're not doing them at the office anymore. That one's actually going to be at their warehouse
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Burbank, which I think they might have done the Bass Rush one at
Right.
about a week ago,
Yep.
and it's actually going to be hosted by Dr. Fresh.
Right. I saw that. That's going to be dope.
That was cool. Yeah, I did a little Instagram live with him for like 15 minutes yesterday. No, Thursday.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun to talk to. He's a funny dude.
Yeah, dude. He's the best.
I'm
He's the best
excited for
guy.
his interviews.
All right, I want to get into this a new feature that I do on the show called production hacks. So, like
Okay.
every producer has one or two things that they kind of do on every track that's like one of their things.
Yeah.
Do you have one or two things, and this is specifically for the people who produce, who listen to the show, like one or two tips that are like strong tips that you use?
I've got like a lot of like different little things that I do. Um, let's see. One trick that I do for like mix downs is I'll, instead of like trying to like throw a sound in and then adjust volume depending on where it sounds good, I'll take that sound and I'll have the track playing and I'll completely cut it out, like turn the volume all the way down, and then I'll slowly bring it back in until it sounds right, until it sits well. And sometimes that'll be like maybe 5 or 6 dB lower than what I thought sounded good. And
Yeah.
it really helps a lot to figure out like how much you need exactly, rather than like starting at too loud and bringing it down.
Mm-hmm.
Starting from completely silent and bringing it in, I've found has helped a lot with like making things sit well on the mix down.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that.
That's just
That's
something I
that's
found out like
that's great.
a couple tracks ago.
Yeah.
And it's now I do it with every single sound. I'll just get to the point in the track where that sound comes in, and I'll mute it, and then I'll just slowly bring the volume up, and it's crazy.
I love that. I think that's a great tip. Honestly, when I do, this is like the third episode where I've done this tips. Like I end up using the tips every single time. So
Yeah, that's a great one.
that's a very good one. All right, I like that one a lot. Getting into kind of the music, your last release was with Vanessa Skin,
Yes,
which was through Insomniac Records. First of all, the cover art was sick on that,
that was
and
spectacular.
it actually made me think about how important cover art can be if you treat it like that, where it's like I hadn't
Actual art.
actual art. I hadn't even heard the track until like a week later, but I knew the record. No, but I knew the record because I knew the
Yeah.
artwork, and so I wanted to know about the record. But like, who did the artwork for that, and how did that
So
come
that's
about?
actually a really cool story. How that came about was, okay, so we had the track all done, and like early on I knew that I wanted the album art to have something to do with like a skull, just because Vanessa has like some darker like branding in some of her tracks, and I think it's skulls like get used a lot, but I felt like it was especially like appropriate for that track, like when
Skulls are timeless, man.
yeah, and it's like when the skin's all gone, we look the same, and obviously the skull is what we're talking about, and we kind of just sat on it for a while, and when it came time to actually come up with the album art, we are like, how about we do something like, I think it was Vanessa that suggested it, like the face ripping in half, and half of the face is her and half of the face is me, and then there's the skull in the middle. And she found that she just went on Google Images and found this one like retro looking painting or digital like drawing, and it was kind of similar to what we had in the album art, the final album art, and it was like a very solid background with like the skin, like people's skin color was like yellow or red or something, and then the skull was like blue or something like that. And Greg Mateo and Joe Wiseman, the guys that ran Insomniac Records, they actually went out and found that image on Google and went to the website and found the original artist and commissioned him to do the same thing but with our faces.
Sick.
And he asked for like a picture of me and a picture of Vanessa, and he came back to us with that, and we're like, yeah, that's it, that's going to be the album art.
That's so dope. The artist, was he a fan of house music? Did he know about you guys? Or?
No, I don't think he was at all. I think he was just shit, man, I really feel bad that I don't remember his name, but he here it is, that would be Ian MacArthur.
Ian MacArthur.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got like 60, almost 70,000 followers on Instagram. So I mean, he's like a legit artist. His whole thing is art, and they just went on the site and found out who it was and hit him up and said, "Hey, like, this is what we want, and if you're down to do it, then we're down to use it." And it went through several like iterations of how big we wanted to make the faces, as opposed to how big we wanted the track name and how big we wanted Omnom and Vanessa to be. And eventually it came down to, let's just put the name in the corner, put our names up in the other corner, and just put the art right in the middle and just let it speak for itself, because that's what it really is just like, it's a piece of art.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done on that. And the track,
Yeah.
the track is dope too. So how is the collab on that one? Was that something where you were in the same room working together on the record, or back and forth with the files, or?
Yeah, that was just something that I had a project already, like kind of sitting around. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. I'd say maybe it was like 25-30% done. And then Vanessa came over one day and she was just like, yeah, let's work. Like we already planned on collabing, and I was like, oh, I just got this one started and I think it could be something like really dope. And we just went in on it that day, and we got it about 70% done. Just that one day, went and got sushi, and then I think we went to Space Yacht after.
Nice.
But then after that, we had like one more session. I had rented out the studio at Icon Collective, and I actually just used that studio, and she came in one day and we listened to it on those speakers and kind of just wrote a few more things on like the synth that I had brought with me, and we are like, this is done.
Yeah,
it was like one of the quickest like collabs I've ever done.
Yeah, that's dope. That studio in Icon is fun to work in. I've been in there as well.
It's dope. Yeah, it's super cool.
Freeloaded my way into that studio.
Yeah, that's where me and yeah, I didn't go to Icon, but I just had like an in there. And that's actually where me and Dances recorded Babysitter too.
So I was going to bring up that track. I mean, the Goo Goo Gaga vocal on that is almost disturbing.
It's iconic.
It's iconic. Was that just like, Dances in the booth, like figuring out something, or where did that? Because that like is it's really
That's just
something.
that's just it was just Dances going in the studio, me putting the track on loop, and then him just going in for like 5 or 6 minutes of just whatever.
Yeah.
And like as they say, you wouldn't put a saddle on a Mustang.
I see what you mean. I get
So
what you mean.
you don't try to harness Dances. You just kind of let him do whatever he wants, and then you are in charge of making that all work in a track. And I think that was like one of my proudest achievements, was getting all of the parts, because there were just so many different vocal takes that he did for that track, and there were just so many great things all over the place that I wanted to put in one track, and I was just like, I need to have all of this in the track, but it took me like months and months to figure out how to make it all work together. And I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a great one, and he's got so many records out, and it's definitely a distinct kind of unique one out of all the stuff, because he's like one of the voices of tech house in general. Like he's on a lot of records.
He really is, and I noticed that I recorded Stunt with him long before, maybe 6 months before Babysitter, and I started to notice, like, for how much he knows about hip hop and just writing like verses and thinking up amazing like bars, a lot of his tracks that he's made with other artists in different genres, they use maybe 8 syllables or like maybe like a sentence or two. And I was like, what would happen if I had this beat that lent itself to like someone just like riffing on top of. I was like, what if I just let him go absolutely like nuts for like 32 bars and just kind of got all the music out of the way, rather than using a clip of him as just like an element in the track? What if I just let him be like the main attraction in the track? Right. And I think that was really cool.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That comes through.
It's one of the most polarizing tracks I think I've ever written, for sure. Like if you go into the YouTube comments, not everybody likes this track. In fact, a lot of people hate the lyrics, but I think it's probably one of my favorite tracks I've ever like put out.
Well, it's definitely a statement for sure. No, dance. I love Dances. Like he's like I said, he's one of like the voices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
he has been for a long time.
I know, it's crazy. Well, I got some more questions, but how about this is one. This is one. This is a new one I like. What was your first rave?
My first rave was Tiesto in 2009 at the Shrine.
That's a good one.
I had just turned 17 the week before, and it was the day before Thanksgiving. So I had my first rave, and then 12 hours later, I was at Thanksgiving dinner with my entire family.
Yeah, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is always a big show night. Like we do big shows those nights. Well, back when we threw shows.
Yeah, back when there were shows.
And then in terms of producing, was that something that got you into what got you the producing bug? Like what was the thing that like made you go in?
I see. So like my first show was 2009, end of 2009. My first huge, massive was about 4 months later at the first Beyond Wonderland in 2010 at NOS. And then, that never really got me into production as much as like maybe 2010, 2011 is when I decided to start like messing around with like virtual DJ. And I started to like do stuff like that. Like I got inspired by watching a lot of DJs to make like bootlegs and stuff.
Mm.
Like I would make like this track and this track like mashed up together or like transition in a cool way, and then like send them to people who I knew that DJ'd and stuff. But the whole production thing, I didn't really start producing until uh, 2012. I got Logic, and I kind of just made whatever. I think I made like maybe 2 or 3 tracks on there. One of them was like an ambient, like super down tempo track. The next one was like progressive house, and then the third one was like hard electro.
Mm.
And I never did anything else after that.
You
And
got to
then it was,
release that as an EP.
oh god, yeah,
The early years.
in there, Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3.
Exactly.
And it was living in San Francisco in 2015 when the Dirty Bird shit up there was just blowing up. And like that was when Dirty Bird was still in San Francisco, and now 90% of Dirty Bird takes place in LA.
Right.
But it was like being around all that going on that inspired me to like get back into trying to produce and start making like weird house music.
Yeah.
And that's when I downloaded Ableton. 2015, 2016 was when I started taking it seriously, and that's when I actually came up with like the Omnom alias.
Mm-hmm. I like it. It's good. And look at you now, top of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
doing it for the fans, for the
We're
Dirty
trying.
Bird fans. No, it's good stuff. All right, well, look, this has been a great chat. I feel like we did what we came to do. You know,
We did a good job. We made do.
yeah, I mean, we can't be in the same room, but you know, it's like we're in the same room.
I appreciate you leaving my flower up behind you.
Well, I do love this design. It's great. I've turned into like a pseudo fashion designer. My wife always makes fun of me. She's like, "You just make clothes now. That's all you do." So I appreciate good design now because that's
Okay. So
focus.
don't take this as an insult to your intelligence.
Uh-oh.
But do you notice that the pedals say Omnom?
Now I do.
Okay, because Andrew was telling me, he's like, I feel like a lot of people still don't even notice that the pedals say Omnom.
No,
And I was like,
unless I wouldn't have gotten it either. I just thought it was like, oh, your smiley face logo. I know that.
No, so there's the letters, and then the one that's being plucked out doesn't
I
have a letter.
I get it.
So yeah, that's.
I feel like you shouldn't have said that. You should have let the fans
I
figure
know.
that out.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of been torturing me lately. I was like, fuck, do people see it or do they not? And I don't want to come out and be like, spell it out for people, because I think it's really funny to see people like when it clicks. Like when I had that one.
Yeah, this is crazy.
When I had that one shirt, when I had that one T-shirt, they'd be like, "Oh, that's a cool shirt, like with the flower and everything." And then I could just kind of tell that they weren't really seeing what it actually was. They just saw the face in the middle.
Right.
But once you like tell them, or you like they see it and they're like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
I just noticed."
Now I can't not see
It's
it. I can't unsee it.
It can't be unseen.
It's true. No, I definitely like it. Hold on, now everybody can see there. Yeah, now I get it. It's very, 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 very tricky. It's a little too highbrow for me. I just put a rocket on stuff and say, hey.
Hey, the camo rocket is hard though.
We're gonna do. This was a limited hat. We're gonna do a remake of this with a camo mask. That's one of the next drops.
Oh, nice.
So they're gonna have it's like a 2-piece set. I got all kinds of designs going on. It's just about quarantine's tricky. It's like you don't want to order too much inventory. You also don't want to do pre-orders and make people wait too long. There's a balance that you have to get. But I have basically 8 new designs that I want to just get, but I have to figure out how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know how much merch you guys order, if you guys do drop shipping or if you guys all have your inventory set before you do the online sales or what, but I'm still very much learning about how to go about doing these merch drops.
It's a whole thing. Well, it depends, and you'll find different drops do different things, but after you do a certain amount, you start to get an understanding of how many. So we keep our shit limited regardless, just as a move, right? So for the most part, even when there's demand for more, we're 120 maybe is the top that we're doing, just because they become more coveted that way. And we've done drops that are more than that, but then at a certain point we were just if we just keep it limited and just keep putting stuff out, then there's going to be plenty of stuff for people to buy, and we don't have to go higher. And I'm hoping, obviously I'm hoping that the drops can, will be bigger or not. But for now in quarantine time, it's like we want to be respectful of the fact that some people don't have money also, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
definitely.
it's a balance between like, keeping things limited, keeping things affordable, because a lot of people would charge more than we charge for what we do. But I'm just kind of like, it's quarantine. People don't have extra money. Like the difference between
Yeah,
$15 means a lot more to them than to me. So I'd
yeah.
rather, keep it, semi
Yeah,
affordable
and
for
I was
everybody.
like, you know what? And then also at the same time, I was like very hesitant to put anything out like merchandise like during all of this. But then I also saw the other side of things like, hey, not everybody is as broke as us producers and DJs right
Right.
now,
It's
right?
not everybody's as broke. And by the way, people still, it's a lifeline. That's what I've also noticed is like they can't come to the show, but they want the piece of merch because there's a good feeling in that. Opening that package and being like, oh, this is a Space
Yeah,
Yacht thing, and then wearing, like when they watch your streams, they're going to be wearing your merch when they watch your streams. That's a thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and
It's like,
unfortunately tonight I am going to have to when we watch the streams on my Discord, one of our live stream drinking game drinks is you have to like take a shot every time the DJ wears their own merch.
so you're always taking a shot.
And we're always taking shots, and I've always been so like against that, but I think tonight I am going to have to actually have to sport some Omnom merch. Just
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
just do
might
shots
have
the
to
whole
do it
time.
because we've got face masks also, and I mean we got to wear a face mask during the Insomniac streams,
Absolutely,
so I'll have to call
absolutely.
that. By the way, I got my own face masks made, but your guys' blanks, the Space Yacht blanks, like your guys' face masks are still like I think
Feels
like
good, yeah.
definitely a top, dude. Like they're
Thank you. Yeah,
very
no, those are
very
we're
solid.
good, and we're actually face mask is just going to be a constant. Like that's like the new limited drops. We're doing like, the camo is next, then we have like three others that we're doing, and we're just every 2 weeks just drop them because people are buying them, and they're, again, you keep them cheap. They're not. It's not like a,
They're not an
you know,
expensive thing to
it's
buy.
not. It's $12.
Mine
It's
are
like,
12. Yep.
yeah, exactly. I like 12. I think 12 is a sweet spot for them because we used to sell them for 20. And that was before quarantine, and people bought them all
Yeah.
the time. But then I was like, that's too much for now. Now people actually need this item,
Yeah.
and 12 is a way where it's like, you're not making a ton of cash, but you're making a little bit, but it's still affordable for somebody who,
Yeah, and also like you could argue like 15 isn't that bad,
yeah,
but once you get into calculating like shipping and stuff, I just feel like
right, because
getting
then
getting upwards of 15 into like almost the 20 is like very much like it's very
exactly,
very close to too expensive. So I usually
exactly,
keep it at 12, and then if there's like $3 or $4 shipping, then that's
yeah.
not that bad.
Yeah, dude, the merch stuff and is a whole game and a whole other kind of hack to do within this whole world of things we do. And I got to tell you, like, I love it. Like it's a new passion for
It's
me
really cool. Me
because
too.
there's data behind it, and so you're
Hmm.
using data as a way to determine what you're going to make, and you're looking at what designs, what colors people like, what they don't like, what you thought was going to be good that was a flop versus what's great. It's like there's a lot, that goes
Or what
into
you
it.
thought was going to be a flop that turned out to like sell
It's
out
it's
instantly.
crazy. Yeah, that definitely on both sides. It's just like you never know. But then the idea is that like any kind of other kind of data driven thing, you optimize as you go. So you kind of
Yeah.
you weed out the bad stuff and you go with the good stuff. And then you don't know everything. Just because something sold once really well. Like sometimes we've done ones there. I was like, oh, this one did really well, and then the next one is like, whatever. So
Yeah.
you got to keep it moving, and it keeps you on your toes. In a
Yeah. I
different
mean,
way from like the production. You know what I mean? You're using a
yeah.
different part of your brain than the production part.
Just exercise. Yeah. Like a completely different creative muscle, at least, like when you're designing them and what you want to do, how you want to roll it out. Like
Yeah.
this whole thing, like aside from like actually making them, I pretty much designed like the packaging for the mask. I designed the mask. I designed the flower logo, like where everything would go on like the clothes and everything,
Yeah.
and just like the entire rollout, like all the graphics for the rollout. Like it was just really fun to be exercising that side of my brain rather than
Yeah.
just sitting around like mixing drum loops.
Yeah. No, and then also there's something I love. Like I do all the shipping. So like even though like our manufacturer will do stuff, like instead of having them send it, I have them send it to me, and then I do every package because I know the people who should get extra stuff. I know who the super fans are. I know, when a package is taking too long, where I'm like, all right, they need a bandana and a pin or something extra. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, that hands-on experience is so
Yeah.
important.
So, and it's just like, I feel like it's like my baby. Every time like before we got on the Zoom, I was packaging shit up for 2 hours, but I just
Yeah.
like, I love it. Cause I'm like, oh, there's less stuff in my room. And now there's like, so it's fun. Obviously there's a certain point where like, it's not scalable. Like when we have shows, like I can't be doing that when we have shows,
No,
but like
no, definitely not.
for now I got the time. So I'm happy to ship. So
And it's just so cool when you have like that first round of orders and everything's all packaged up and you just have like 100
yeah.
just like
Stacks of shit.
stacks of shit ready to go out. I think that's so cool.
It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's weird. Anyway, well, good hangs, good chats.
Yeah, man, great hangs for sure.
If you are listening to this and you're not familiar with Omnom's music, go to Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, wherever music is, you are there.
You
right?
know what's funny is that
or are you not? I don't know.
what's that?
Or are you not on those platforms? You're
Oh,
on
I'm on everything. Yeah.
okay, you're on all those platforms.
I was just gonna say it's funny because right now it totally feels like we're talking for 1,000 people, but it really there's no different than when we went live. It's still you and me talking. Just
well, this
people.
isn't a stream, so this just
Yeah.
me and you. But we will be talking for
this whole time
people.
I've been conducting myself as if I was being heard by
should.
like hundreds of people. Yeah.
No, but you
it's
should.
very interesting.
It'll be on Insomniac Radio, and we'll post it on our YouTube, and it will be. Eventually there will be those people there. Sometimes we were gonna do the streams, but I don't know. I just feel like my computer isn't fast enough to be streaming and doing this, and for me, I'm more interested in making sure the interview gets done.
Yeah. Because I remember last time we did it, it was you, me, and Max, and it was live. Everybody was listening then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Sometimes we do it. I just, now that I'm on my own without Henry around, like the tech stuff gets hard for me, and I just got to keep it to the basics. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man.
All right, brother. Well, good to talk to you. Thank you so much for being on the show. And
of course, anytime, man.
Awesome. And for those listening to Space Yacht Radio, thank you for listening to Space Yacht Radio. We'll be back. We'll be back next week. It's your boy London Bridge. I'll catch you next week on the Flippy Flop. Later.
Bye.